All right, Middle-Aged White Guy Reacts back again today with another video for you. And today, I want to talk to you about some information we got yesterday at the end of the Browns game. All right. So, in case you were wondering, the Browns won last night in Thursday Night Football. Baker Mayfield did not play because of his torn labrum, is what we thought. Okay, so he has a torn labrum in his shoulder, his left non-throwing shoulder that he's been playing through. He kind of re-aggravated that injury last week against the Cardinals. And so we figured, they said there's swelling going on in there. It's not, it's too painful. He can't play through it. So that's what we thought. We found out something very interesting, though. Okay. Last night, he confirmed that there is a broken bone in his left humerus. So, in case you're not familiar with my channel, I'm an Xray tech, okay? So bones are my specialty, and I find this very interesting. So knowing his, seeing his injury and how he hurt himself, knowing now that there is a fracture in there, I want to show you guys what's going on and how this probably is not good for the foreseeable future for Baker Mayfield. So, let's get right into this. Let me pull it up here. Make sure you guys can see it. Okay. So right here, we have a humerus, okay? This right here is the greater tuberosity. This is an attachment point for two very large rotator cuff muscles, the supraspinatus and infraspinatus. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So now, the rotator cuff muscles, these are tongue-twisting words, and you don't have to use them all the time, so it's tricky at times. But anyway, they come down and they attach to this tuberosity right here, is what that is. And that is just an attachment point for tendons and the ends of muscles, basically. All right. So this is what moves your shoulder, okay? Now, this one is fractured. You can see the fracture right here. Okay, and this is going to be kind of similar to what Baker is dealing with. Now, it could be worse than this. It could be a lot worse than this one. Let's see if I could find a worse one here. Okay, here's a bad one. All right, female patient. This one, you can see it's kind of displaced a little bit. Not too bad, though. That wouldn't be considered displaced, but you see how the fracture starts down in here, and it's coming all the way up through the humeral head, and then we have the fracture right here as well. All right, so it might be hard for you guys to see it. It jumps out at me because I look at these all the time for my job. So, show you another one here. All right, this is probably similar to what Baker has going on. Considering he wasn't in a sling or anything crazy like that. You can see the fracture coming up through here, kind of becomes muddy, and then you see it coming out the other end up here. So what is happening in this? Now, here is how Baker got hurt. And here's where the fracture happened. Can you see that? Yes. Okay. So you see right here, his arm is outstretched. All of his weight is driving down into that shoulder joint. Okay, so what has happened is, at this picture, this moment, right here, his shoulder is dislocated. So his shoulder is out of the socket and moving away from him, okay? Or staying still, actually, kind of sliding in this direction while his force is driving down into the ground, okay? So what had happened then is, since his shoulder is out, it's pulling the bone away, but the tendons and the rotator cuff muscles are trying to keep it there. All right, they don't want to let it go. So what happens is that greater tuberosity kind of peels off like a peel tab on a can of soup. Okay, on a can of Campbell's soup, basically. It's called an avulsion fracture. So this is the moment where this is occurring. Okay, so this is probably exactly when it is happening, right there. Still want to find one that's highly displaced. Let's find a really good one. This is a good one. Okay. So you see this. I mean, this is how it could have ended up. And if this was the case, this is very bad news. The way they had him practicing on Tuesday, and they kind of found it last minute, leads me to believe it is a non-displaced fracture, avulsion fracture of the greater tuberosity, because those sometimes are hard to see on just plain X-rays, and you need an MRI or an ultrasound to really visualize it. But you see this, the muscle, the tendon just pulled this right away, just pulled it off the bone. You know, like I said, just like pulling a can of, you know, the pull tab rings on a can of like Campbell's soup and just like yanking it off. That's exactly what's going on here. So if he has something like this, he's in a lot of trouble. I don't think that's the case, but, you know, normally what they'll do for that is, let's see if we can find one. Okay, this isn't a bad, let's go this one. This isn't a, do they have a plate on it? Doesn't look like they have a, doesn't look like they have a plate. All right, so it looks like they just put a couple of screws in just to help hold the bone in. Okay, so at the bare minimum, they're going to go in and drill a couple of screws into you. They could do other things depending on how bad it is. See if we could find. You know what? I had. This guy had good picture. Okay, so the worst or the best case scenario, if it's a displaced fracture like that, would be to put the screws in it. This one would show if it was like pretty bad. I don't know if it's hard to see. You can see the plate coming down, the humeral shaft here, and then all these screws coming into the humeral head, and then you'd have to anchor that plate every so often. That would be a major undertaking. Okay, that's bad if you need to go like that, and I think that would really probably limit mobility in that shoulder for the foreseeable future for him. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. It would have to be the way he described it. It would have to be a greater tuberosity, probably non-displaced avulsion fracture of that left shoulder. I mean, we're looking 4 to 6 weeks if it's non-displaced, okay? Probably. I mean, he could try to go back out and he could try to go back out and do and play while it's still kind of healing. I don't know if that's a good idea though. I mean, because then you could end up with, you know, something like this where it's just shattered. It totally displaces the shoulder. That shoulder's not going to sit right in here. I mean, you're talking, you know, big deal if something like that happens. So it looks like it's going to be Case Keenum for a little while. Does not make me the happiest man in the world. I think he can get the job done. He does not have the arm strength that Baker Mayfield has, though, and this is going to be rough. Okay, so the next 4 to 6 games, we're going to be without Hunt, without probably Baker Mayfield, you know, and Chubb looked like he's close to coming back, so at least we might have that going for us. But Case Keenum's going to have to kind of win us some games here, and that's a scary prospect when we're already 4-3. If we were 5-2, if we had that Chargers game, I would feel a lot better about the next 4 to 6 weeks. Because we have a softer schedule coming up, but we have some tough games. We have Pittsburgh next week, Cincinnati the week after that. Those are going to be 2 really, really tough games. And I think we go like New England, Detroit's in there somewhere. So, you know, we have some games that should be W's for us, but we need to go 4-2 in this stretch. I mean, we need to be, you know, and if it's 4 games, I mean, we need to go 3-1, you know, 2-2 at the worst, 3-3, you know, I mean, that's really putting us in a spot late in the season. So we need to win the games that we should win, and we can only lose. We have Baltimore coming up too. Shit. We have Pittsburgh, Cincy, Baltimore, New England, and the Lions, I believe, is our schedule coming up. Not in that order. So, damn, we're gonna have to take 2 of the 3 division games. So you have to beat Pittsburgh, and then you have to beat Cincy at home or Baltimore, and that's not going to be an easy task with all the players that we have out, and with our quarterback probably being shut down for probably at least a good 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. That'll do it. That'll be the video, though. Middle-aged white guy reacts is out. Peace.